A radio station cafe, a cobblestone alley espresso bar, and one legendary spot that's gone forever. This city basically invented modern coffee culture, but there's more to Seattle than just the Green Mermaid, and I spent 3 days exploring what else the city has to offer. This is your coffee guide to Seattle. Our first stop today is Café Vita on Capitol Hill, the flagship location, open since 1995. One of the few classic Seattle coffee shops still around from when I lived here years ago. I'll forever mourn Bauhaus Coffee, which to me was the quintessential Seattle coffee house. Capitol Hill will never be the same without it, but Café Vita is still around and thriving, with multiple locations around Seattle as well as a few in New York and Arizona. They roast all their own beans on site at the Pike Street location and have set a standard for independent coffee roasters in Seattle over the years. This place still feels local and unpretentious, and this location is classic Capitol Hill. One of Café Vita's trendier locations, however, is their cafe inside KEXP, Seattle's legendary independent radio station, and the vibe is equally Seattle, but in a different way. This is still an active radio station, and you can watch live studio sessions happening right next door. There's also an in-house sub-pop record store, Seattle's classic grunge-era record label, mixing two of Seattle's iconic claims to fame, music and coffee. It's located near the Seattle Center, so it's a great place to stop in for a coffee if you're visiting the Space Needle. Next up is Pot Doughnuts, which is technically a donut shop, but don't let that fool you. They take their coffee just as seriously, hand-roasting their own blend on site at their flagship location on 5th Avenue in Belltown. This location is definitely worth a stop, even just for the vibes. I'm a sucker for any cafe with bookstore vibes, and Pot nails it, with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves all around. In a town known for coffee, it's no surprise Seattle has dozens of donut shops as well, and Pot has been leading the charge for over 20 years with a number of locations around town. With more than 40 varieties of donut, there's something for everyone, from classic cake donuts to fancier fare like the pink feather boa. I tried their raspberry glazed old-fashioned, which was good but not life-changing. And while the coffee isn't the most technically impressive on this list, the total experience, the atmosphere, the food, and the coffee all together make for an enjoyable way to start your day. A block over on 4th Avenue is Herkimer Coffee, another highly rated independent roaster. This location is definitely for the minimalist on the go. There's no indoor seating, and they're only open Monday through Friday until 2 p.m. But the coffee is good and worth a stop if you need a pick-me-up during the week. And if you stop by on a day it isn't raining, they have a handful of tables outside. Next, we're heading over to Pike Place Market. Hidden up the flight of stairs near the entrance to Pike Place is Storyville Coffee. Now, Storyville's website boasts being both America's #1 roaster and Seattle's #1 coffee shop, and I think that's probably a stretch. Their aesthetic is definitely on point, but this place is a tourist trap. This was actually my second visit. The first time I stopped by, it was way too busy to even find a seat. But the bigger issue is the cost. They charge $8.95 for a latte, and that doesn't include any milk alternatives or syrups. A vanilla oat milk latte would cost you $12 here, and while the coffee is decent and the vibe is probably cozy on an off day, there's so many better options. A latte pretty much anywhere else in town is half the price. Just down the street from Storyville is the Pike Place Starbucks, referred to as the original Starbucks, which opened in 1971. Technically, this isn't the original location of the store, but it's a tourist mecca for Starbucks lovers. And this is the line. I don't personally think it's worth the near hour wait. It's still just Starbucks at the end of the line. But if you've never been, stop by to see the original logo, snap a selfie, and move on. There are better places to get your caffeine fix. If you can't get into Starbucks but are dying for a shot of espresso, Ghost Alley Espresso is tucked down Post Alley to the left of the market entrance. Grab a coffee and go admire Seattle's famous gum wall, an offbeat public art installation, or absolutely disgusting. I'll let you decide. My final stop on this coffee tour is, alas, now an in memoriam. The Starbucks Reserve Roastery on Capitol Hill was one of the city's coffee meccas, until recently. The Starbucks Reserve served both as an on-site roastery and a test site for Starbucks retail strategies. Part coffee bar, part roastery, and cocktail bar, It offered a different kind of Starbucks experience and was just as crowded as you would expect it to be. I filmed this at the beginning of September last year, and Starbucks permanently closed the location just a few weeks later with very little notice as part of a corporate restructuring plan, though it clearly wasn't hurting for business. If I'm honest, I found it far too crowded and touristy to enjoy, and I didn't stay long. Maybe I would have stood in line and waited for a seat if I'd known it was closing, but it didn't really offer the experience I was hoping for. And now it's gone. There are still a few remaining in the US, in Chicago and New York, but who's to say for how long? A few honorable mentions. Bonito Coffee in Capitol Hill, which was closed the day I stopped by, and More Coffee, which was also closed when it said it would be open and then open a different day that I happened to walk by when it should have been closed. Some shops in Seattle don't seem to stick to their posted hours and are frequently closed on holidays, worth knowing. There are also a number of monorail espresso locations in downtown. I probably walked by at least 4, a good place to grab a coffee on the go. So that's just a fraction of Seattle's coffee scene, and it absolutely lives up to the reputation. Whether you're chasing hidden gems or just a perfectly pulled shot, the city delivers. Subscribe for more city guides like this. I have some more Seattle content coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. What's your favorite coffee shop in Seattle? Let me know in the comments below.